Dune Prophecy just aired its first episode and it's digging deep into the mysterious origins of the Bene Gesserit. These aren't just space nuns, they're power-wielding, mind-bending political players who'll do whatever it takes to manipulate humanity's future. At the heart of this prequel, which is set 10,000 years before the events in Dune, the Harkonnen sisters, Valia and Tula, face both political and spiritual tests in an Imperium where power and spice are the most precious commodities. Now, I get it. When most people hear political intrigue and power struggles, they think, oh, here we go, Game of Thrones in space. But hold on, where Game of Thrones gave us sword-swinging feuds and royal backstabbing, Dune has a subtler, grander goal. The stakes aren't just about who sits on the Iron Throne, but who controls destiny itself. The Bene Gesserit aren't vying for power for its own sake, they're weaving the very future of humanity. Yeah, I get why people are making the comparison. The Duneverse is filled with conspiracies, alliances, and a whole lot of manoeuvring for influence over the Imperium and control of the spice. It's got that same web of political tension that made Game of Thrones so addictive. But everything with political intrigue these days gets compared to Game of Thrones. Throw in some alliances, a couple of betrayals, and suddenly it's got in space. Yes, the Bene Gesserit eat conspiracies and power play cereal for breakfast, but it's not as simple as just swapping Iron Throne for Imperium. Before watching the first episode, I knew what I didn't want it to be. Game of Thrones in space. I want Dune. Dune in space. In fact, Dune came first. They should call Game of Thrones Medieval Dune with Dragons. The show draws inspiration from Sisterhood of Dune, the book by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, though it's not exactly a page-for-page adaptation apparently. Now, if you're anything like me, the phrase based on the book probably brings up some painful memories of shows like Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. The dread was real, folks. I'd been burned before and I'm sure you have too. I know a lot of you don't like the treatment of Apple TV's Foundation either. We've all seen stories we love messed up by writers who don't seem to, well, get it. And the showrunners who seem more interested in chasing trends than actually telling the story for the fans. But despite this, I was cautiously optimistic. If a show is genuinely good, if it brings something fresh, is well written and respects the source material, then I'm all for it. Quality a lot of the time can make up for a lot of creative liberties. Now, here's where I totally contradict myself. I'm actually not attached to this show following the Sisterhood of Dune books. I know some fans see these more as fan fiction anyway. Plus, this is the first time that new writers outside of Frank Herbert and the tag team of Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson that get to play in the Dune universe sandbox. And honestly, it could be great. Well, with one massive caveat. They follow the lore and they make it good. But now you're probably all thinking, come on Daryl, get to the actual review part of this chuffing review. So, was I right to be cautiously optimistic? Should I have braced for impact? Is it trying to be Game of Thrones in space, or is it carving its own golden path? Just a quick spoiler warning, I'm not going too deep into the spoilers, but I will be referencing some specific parts of episode 1. The first episode kicks off with some stunning visuals of the Butlerian Jihad in action, and humanity throwing down against thinking machines, which honestly was a delight to see. Side note, it got me thinking what a great show the Butlerian Jihad would make. Fast forward 116 years to the early Bene Gesserit Sisterhood, or Truthsayers, which to me kinda sounds like a prog rock band. Led by the Harkonnen sisters, Valia and Tula, this proto-Bene Gesserit crew gets wind of a prophecy about a future tyrant, which of course is a reference to the God Emperor, Leto II. This splits them into two camps. One's all, let's put one of our own on the throne to stop this, while the other's like, Breeding programs are creepy, let's burn it all down. Enter Valia, who steps into the role of Mother Superior, scheming to marry off Princess Carino to the heir of House Richesi. However, this could have unintended consequences and may in fact bring about the prophecy they're fighting to prevent. And on top of all the intrigue, we've got hints of even bigger problem brewing, with some foreshadowing that seems to suggest the thinking machines may not be as jihaded as we might think, and an insurgency bubbling up in the Imperium. Things are about to get spicy, and not in the melange way. The visuals throughout the episode are stunning, pulling from Villeneuve's Dune, but without quite matching his flair, which is to be expected, to be honest. Some parts feel a little montagey, like they had a checklist of plot points and exposition to get through, but overall it succeeds in pulling you right into the world. Overall, the first episode works, and by works I mean it got me hooked. It's well written, engrossing, and most importantly, it feels like Dune. You know, that mix of politics so tangled you need a spice-fueled mind to unravel them? The storytelling not only sets up the stakes, but introduces the key characters in a way that's both satisfying and leaves you with just enough mystery and foreshadowing to say, okay, I need some more of this. Looking ahead, I'm really hoping that the series can maintain this quality while also diving into some of the unexplored corners of Villeneuve's Dune movies, like the Spacing Guild and the Tleilaxu. But honestly, the first episode has me, dare I say, excited? Bring on episode 2. So, is it Game of Thrones in space? Nope, it's Dune. And thank Shai Hulud for that. I'd love to get your thoughts on the first episode in the comments below. Until next time. Thanks so much for watching. If you're craving an extraordinary journey through realms unexplored, consider delving into universes directly out of my brain by checking out my sci-fi novels Black Milk and Delphine Descends. You can find more details in the description. Thanks for your support.